All right, so hopefully you attempted this one. Let's take a look at step 1, use order of operations looking at our answer to determine which operation to perform first. So again, I'm looking down here. And the first step in order of operations is grouping symbols. That fraction bar acts like a grouping symbol. So the first thing that I would do to the D if I were to substitute -2 in is subtract 4. So I'm going to go back up to my D equals -2 and subtract 4 from both sides of the equal sign. So this is my step 2 actually. I used the golden rule of algebra. Whatever I did to one side, I did to the other. So I'm going to simplify the right-hand side. And then I'm going to go back to my answer and see that the only other thing that happened was I divided by 2. So I'm repeating steps 1 and 2. I'm going to use the golden rule of algebra to divide both sides by 2. The left-hand side is simplified, and it looks like the answer that we want. And simplifying the right-hand side, -6 divided by 2 is -3. By the way, if you do not, let me jump back to this, if you do not get these answers to match, then you probably used order of operations incorrectly on the other side of the equal sign. So that would mean you'd have to go back and check your work. All right, step 1, use order of operations to determine which operation to perform first. So looking at my answer down here, if I substituted for H, the first thing I would do is inside the grouping symbols, I would subtract 5. Now notice that my two operations are multiplication right here and subtraction. But that grouping symbol means I would perform the subtraction first. So using the golden rule of algebra, jumping back up to my H equals 10, I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides of the equal sign first. Simplifying the right-hand side. And the next thing that I do is multiply both sides by -2. Now I can't just throw a -2 here, because first of all, that wouldn't be following the golden rule of algebra. I'm multiplying one term on the left-hand side by -2, but I'm not multiplying the entire left-hand side by -2. So that's where the parentheses come in, is that whatever you do to one side, meaning everything on that side of the equal sign, you have to do to the other side. So be careful that you don't pick out one term and multiply by -2. All right, so now I have my left-hand side looking like I want it to. Simplifying the right-hand side, 5 times -2 is -10, and my answers match, so I did the process correctly. And here is your U-try problem.